the Ardennes. In December 16th, 1944, I remember the silence most of all, a profound, suffocating quiet that the snow had stolen from the vast, dark pine forests. We had convinced ourselves, dangerously, that the war in the West was a spent cartridge, a mere matter of logistics now. The air was frigid, the kind of cold that doesn't just chill the bone but extracts the warmth from your very soul, leaving a brittle, fragile thing behind. I could smell the faint, misleading scent of wood smoke from the scattered American foxholes, boys dreaming of Christmas leave and hot coffee, not the ghost of the asterisk, Wehrmacht asterisk, gathering its final, poisonous breath just beyond the tree line. This was the moment I felt the deception, a terrifying lull before the final, apocalyptic surge. I saw the overconfidence, the thinning of our lines, the assignment of exhausted, green, or convalescing units to this quiet sector mistake I would carry the weight of forever. Then, the dawn shattered. It was not a battle. It was an explosion of sound and fire, an inferno erupting from the white silence. I felt the ground tremble under the weight of the German assault, a terrifying, coordinated tidal wave of Panzer. And it was there, into that frozen, unassuming landscape, that I saw the arrival of the 101st Airborne Division, the Screaming Eagles, not dropped from the sky, as legend would have it, but ferried in on trucks, racing against the clock, digging in with frozen shovels just hours ahead of the German encirclement. I watched their faces, young, terrified, yet with a core of resolute purpose that defied the swirling snow. They knew the gravity of their assignment, or perhaps they simply understood the instinct to hold the line, no matter the cost. The German ring closed tight, a suffocating embrace of steel and artillery. I saw the relentless shelling turn Bastogne into a smoking ruin, a landscape of splintered timber and frozen earth. I heard the asterisk crump asterisk of the heavy guns, the whine of the screaming Mimi's Nebelwerfer rockets, sounds that burrowed into the minds of the men until they were indistinguishable from their own pulse. Inside the perimeter, the despair was a tangible thing. We lacked everything. Food was rationed to meager bites. The cold was an enemy as potent as the SS, and the wounds, oh, the wounds. I saw the surgeons working in basements by the light of a single flickering lantern, their hands shaking not just from the cold, but from sheer exhaustion and the futility of their tasks. There were no anesthetics, few plasma units, and the wounded lay in the frozen hay, their pain a constant, low moan that permeated the entire town. It was a siege that tested the very limits of human endurance. I felt the slow, creeping terror of knowing you were surrounded, that every road is cut, that the only way out is through the German guns. Then came the message. It arrived under a flag of truce, carried by 2 German officers, a demand for surrender. They spoke of the futility, the overwhelming odds, the mercy they were offering. I remember the moment clearly, the tension thick enough to choke on in the small command post. The officers gathered around Brigadier General Anthony McAuliffe, and I heard his answer, an answer that would define the entire battle, an act of sheer, glorious, American defiance, a two-syllable rejection hurled back into the face of history. Nuts, I swear. I felt a tremor of something electric run through the frozen foxholes when that word circulated. It wasn't a military decree. It was a psychological weapon, a distillation of pure, unadulterated refusal to quit. It meant, we are cold, we are hungry, we are surrounded, but we are asterisk here, asterisk, and we will not move. That single word, nuts, became a bulwark stronger than any steel, and I watched the morale of the encircled troops, the Lost Battalion, harden into an unbreakable resolve. It was their moment of truth, the point where honor and sheer desperation met in the frozen snow. They held. For 4 days they endured the unrelenting barrage, the probing attacks, the gnawing hunger. But the real, agonizing question I held in my heart was not if they could hold, but asterisk, for how long asterisk. Because above the trees, the gray, oppressive clouds had not broken. Patton's Third Army, the relief column, was stalled by the elements, battling the kind of weather I have rarely witnessed. No ice, and a fog so thick it grounded every single plane. I saw Patton kneeling, praying, demanding the impossible from his chaplains, making a desperate bargain with God for clear skies. And then, on December 23, 1944, as if by divine intervention, the clouds began to tear open, revealing a sliver of blue, a shaft of sunlight cutting through the despair. I heard the engine of the first C-47 before I saw it, a low, powerful drone that was music to my ears. I watched them drop from the sky, hundreds of parachutes blooming like white flowers, carrying the precious cargo, medical supplies, plasma, ammunition, and food. It was a lifeline from the heavens, and I felt the collective, ragged sigh of relief that swept through Bastogne. The siege was not over, but the turning point was etched in the sky. I then tracked Patton's progress. The impossible 90-degree turn his army had executed, fighting the snow and the German counterattacks with equal ferocity. I saw the lead elements of the 4th Armored Division, their Sherman tanks grinding through the snow-choked forests, driving toward the pocket's perimeter, and then, finally, the meeting. It was not a grand parade, but a desperate, messy collision of American forces, the relief column breaking through the small village of Est-Nors. I remember the cheers, the tears streaming down frozen faces, the moment when the besieged realized they were no longer alone. I saw soldiers hugging, sharing cigarettes, their exhaustion overwhelming their relief. The Battle of the Bulge was ultimately a desperate German gamble that failed not because of a lack of courage on their part, but because of the stubborn, illogical, and unbreakable resistance of a few thousand American soldiers in a frozen, forgotten crossroads. I look back on that winter and I don't see the numbers the tanks destroyed, the territories gained and lost. I see the faces. I see the surgeon's lamp flickering in the basement. I hear the single word, nuts, echoing off the shattered buildings. It was not a victory of machines, but a triumph of the human will against annihilation. The cost was immense, a staggering toll of frozen and broken bodies left behind in the snow. And when the fighting finally subsided, and the Germans were pushed back, the Bulge flattened. I remember the silence returning, but it was a different silence this time, a quiet of exhaustion, of profound aching grief, and the deep, unsettling knowledge of what we, as humans, are capable of, both in destruction and in resistance. I walk the frozen fields of Bastogne in my mind, and I know that the scars of that winter, the price paid for that small, crucial victory, were not just left upon the Ardennes soil but forever etched upon the soul of the 20th century. That is a memory I will never be able to fully shake.